We're here at the bright and shiny Zeiss booth with Richard, talking about lenses, talking about the different new things that you guys are coming out with. You know, Zeiss lenses have always been known for high quality. You guys are now stepping up a notch with your brand new line of still lenses.
Yeah, exactly. So last year we introduced the Otus lens. It was announced at Photokina 2012, and then we started shipping last November. So it's a new family of SLR lenses, and of course, you know, most people know that we promote our SLR lenses for both still and video applications. And the new Otus won't be any different. You won't see a lot of emphasis from Zeiss until we have at least 2 or 3 focal lengths in the family. But today we have the 1.4-55 that's now shipping in both Canon and Nikon mount, and there has been some great video shot with the lenses. So August Bradley is one of the Zeiss ambassadors. He did a really nice piece with this lens, and it's out on the web for people to kind of take a look at. And what really sets this lens apart from our other series is that it was specifically designed for high resolution cameras. So when we look at the still world, we look at a camera like a D800, you know, it's high pixel density, you know, large sensor. You start to look at pixel sizes, you know, under 5 microns. You need really a lens with high resolving power, especially at the edges. So with the Otus, it was a lens designed without any compromises at all. It can be used at wide open aperture without seeing any flare or chromatic aberration. At 1.4, you still have really great contrast and resolution there. It improves a little bit as you stop down, but you know, I would shoot this lens wide open all day. It's really rock solid. So there is the 1.4-55 ZE or ZE version, along with the cutaway of the lens. It's a much more complex lens than our standard planar lens. And we had to go to a distagon style design, which we normally reserve for our wide angle lenses. And that particular lens design gave us the flexibility of adding both more glass, but more glass with correcting powers. So we're able to actually correct for field curvature and chromatic aberration in the same design. So it's really a flat field lens, almost no distortion at all, and no visible chromatic aberration. So it's a really nice lens.
Beautiful. Now, obviously, this is aimed for still shooters, and your CP series of lenses has always been the go-to for film shooters. Will we see possibility of this expanding into a new series of compact RAMs in the future? You
know, we don't have any firm plans to do this yet, and you know, I think all bets are off until we have at least a small family of focal lengths. And that's going to, you know, it's going to be the 85-1.4 will start shipping late August of this year, and then we'll announce some wide angles for 2015 and beyond. And I think once we have those 3, maybe 4 focal lengths, I would say anything's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, the really nice thing with this lens right now is that it's almost a 270-degree throw to start with. You know, we went with the same sort of paint style we use on our ultra prime lenses for you know, high visibility and low light conditions. Extremely smooth focus. You know, much smoother than our standard SLR series. Okay, so out of the box, a really nice lens to use for video applications. So I would say, maybe to answer your question, never say never, but nothing immediate.
So what the future holds. Now, one thing that we've always loved about the CP series is the interchangeability of the mounts. Yeah. No matter what camera system you have, you can buy one lens system and pretty much use it across the future or across multiple camera systems you might have. You know, Sony obviously just announced the A7S, which is a full-frame E-mount lens. Now, they don't have a lot of full-frame E-mount lenses out there. Right. So, obviously, you guys have a system that is aimed for broad series of sensor sizes, so when somebody were to step into this new camera system, they wouldn't have to, you know, there's basically lenses out there already for them to choose from. Right.
So we have a couple maybe different solutions for the A7S, and the body we have here is the A7R. Aside from the sensor, the mechanical construction of the lens and the E-mount is identical to the A7S. So this particular setup is with the 35-1.4 ZE lens, with a Metabone Smart adapter. So this is the Metabone's EF to E adapter. It allows for communication between the EF lens and the Sony body, where I can control aperture of the lens, because all Canon mount lenses are electronic aperture, and I can control that aperture electronically right through the lens. So the neat thing here is that, you know, I've got communication. I can actually, you know, change the aperture, and because our ZE lenses cover the full frame, and their manual focus, they have nice, you know, focus throws, hard stops. I can use this off-the-shelf combination and start shooting with the 7S and have the same sort of kind of focus control that someone shooting with like a 5D Mark III would have, okay, with this adapter. But there's another opportunity. If someone really wants to step it up and have the sort of control that a CP2 would give them, I would simply swap out a CP2 PL or EF mount and put an E mount on it. So it's one of the 5 mount options available for the CP2. And what we can do right now is actually go through and make a physical change of the mount just to show people how easy it is.
Let's take a look.
All right, so we sell these interchangeable mount kits for the lenses. This particular one is an E mount for the CP2. It covers the 21, 28, or 35 millimeter lenses. And what I have here is a 21 millimeter CP2 PL mount. So we're going to go through, and it's going to be a process that's going to take, if I'm lucky, 3 or 4 minutes to do. So the PL mount is held on with 8 Torx screws. And what I have in my hand is a Torx torque wrench that has a preset torque limit. And this allows me to tighten up on the Torx screws without stripping out the threads. So I'm removing the PL mount. This should be the final screw. Now I got one more to go. Like so. I remove the PL mount. And I've got 8 Torx screws. And what you see underneath here is a set of shims. These shims are color-coded based on the thickness of the shim. This provides the micro adjustment of the back focus on the lens. Now, for this purpose, I'm not going to actually go through the process of adjusting the back focus. The first time you set up a mount on a lens, the process takes about 15 to 20 minutes to do, and I can do it on camera. But we're not going to go through that today. So the CP2 E-mount kit is comprised of basically a set of shims. So I have backup shims. I have a spacer, and I have the E-mount. Okay. So I'm going to line this notch up here with the index pin on this side, like so. And I'm going to take the same 8 screws I just took out of the PL mount, and I'm going to pop them back in like so. It's a little tedious, but it's not so bad. And there's only one way that this spacer ring can go in. And while I'm doing it, you'll notice that our PL mount does not have this support bracket built into it. This collar is designed for any of the lenses that use a still photo mount, because the mount is inherently not strong enough for a cine-style lens.
Right.
It won't handle the rotational torque of the racking focus. So this allows us to lock in the lens to the support rig, you know, with the riser. And you'll notice that we'll have this on both the E-mount, which is what I'm putting on right now, as well as the Micro Four Third mount, Canon mount, and the F mount. But the PL mount, which we have here, does not actually have that.
Well, it's great to have it built into the lens, because I mean you can always add that accessory. But like one thing that just putting in a base for a lens support when you're using any level of a high-powered wireless follow focus, where the lens can still lift up out of that support. So yeah, you want to lock it in solid all the way.
Right. So once everything is in and tightened up, I'm going to go through and do a final tightening, and I'm going to tighten those Torx screws much like I'm going to do if I'm changing my car tire. So I'm going to go, you notice you hear the clicking sound, so I've got proper torque. I'm going to go over to the opposite side. So now that's a support collar, so that's done. This is the E-mount, and the E-mount has an index mark that I'm going to put over here to the focus hashtag, like so. I'm going to take out 4 more Torx screws from my bag, like so. Okay, once it's all set up, and this then is the final step that we need to take to complete the mount change. Now the beauty part with the compact primes and the compact zooms is rental houses are doing this day in and day out. It's become very routine for them. There's nothing to break. I'm not changing any optics. There's no change in the performance of the lens. All I'm simply doing is changing the mechanical mount out. Zeiss has a patent on this one, so It's something unique to both compact primes and compact zooms. So with the last torque screw, again, I'm just going to do a final tight, like so, and we're finished.
Awesome.
So for someone using the new A7S, I now have the ability to do CP.2 E-mount. So, focus iris control, a little better than the ZE lenses. You'll notice that the mount change was very simple. And the beauty part of this is someone who wants to start with the A7S but sees PL mount in their future. Right, when they graduate up, the lenses don't become obsolete. All they do is simply swap it out for the PL mount.
Well, I know we keep seeing new camera systems coming out. Blackmagic comes out with their new system. Right. Yeah, as an FS700 shooter myself, there's potential that might be a camera that we could upgrade to. Upgrading to a lens system that you can optimize. You don't have to keep doing these are handy, but adding more and more lens adapters is just not the most convenient thing. You want the lens to be directly to your camera as much as possible.
Exactly.
So, yes, not having to finagle with all that is really handy. Obviously, this isn't a hot swappable thing you would do in the field, but you can take care of it in a relatively quick period.
Office, hotel room, really any dust-free environment. I wouldn't do it in the car, because little screws to kind of lose and whatnot. But you've seen how simple the mount change is. It's very, very straightforward. And some people say, well, what about the back focus adjustment? Isn't that really critical? Well, the cool thing today in shooting digital versus shooting film is focus is WYSIWYG. I'm focusing off a monitor, right? So I have a display. I have focus peaking functions. That's telling me that I have accurate focus. Now, if someone wants to focus accurately off the focus scales, if you have a focus puller, for instance, and if you want to be in focus at infinity instead of front or back focused, then correct back focus adjustment is important. But I would say for 90% of the applications, if you're off by 1 or 2 shims, it doesn't really matter.
All right, we're here at Zeiss with Annette, taking a look at your new Cinemizer system. This is great for multiple applications, so take us through it.
You're exactly right. So this is called the Cinemizer OLED. So these are new multimedia glasses made by Zeiss. And there are, as you said, a number of applications. So we're demonstrating here at the Zeiss booth. We're showing how it can be used as an external viewfinder on the camera. So we're connecting right through the HDMI port on the camera itself, and using that as our viewing display for the glasses. We can also connect for those people that are doing FPV. It's a great product for FPV flyers. We can connect it right to the ground station on our FPV transmissions, and we can view the video. We can view video through the composite signal or HDMI.
So how would you use for a high definition signal? What kind of signal?
In transmitting through FPV, we would use a system like the Paralinx offers a number of options for us, and they can actually transmit a Wi-Fi signal or a HDMI signal through Wi-Fi, and then we can connect right to the HDMI connection on the Cinemizer itself and view right through the glasses. So it's very simple.
So now you're demonstrating using it on the camera and like being able to pull focus with it. With the eye shroud, actually, you could be outdoors. You could get really clean focus, critical focus.
Yep, you're
it's
exactly
full HD, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, so this will support up to 1080p.
And then for the equivalent size, what would you say the monitor is for distance?
It emulates a 40-inch screen at about 2 meters.
Good. And what would the price point be on this?
The price point on this unit retails for $789 US.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Special thanks to our sponsors for making our NAB coverage possible.